I love our theme this year, Turn It Up. And for me personally, I really love Chuck's words. I'm quite inspired by that. The world is ours to shape. I love that keynote. I hope you did too. And I love that great question that was put to us. How do we connect the next 1 billion people? What a great, wicked problem for us to solve. Now, for all of you that are in English as a second language countries, we're getting some really nice feedback from our colleagues listening in Japan and China and Korea. They're loving the translation. So something I'd love to call out to you is if you want to have the subtitled captions in your local language, we've got 7 Asia Pacific languages there. Go to ciscolive.com/2021. Demos. I loved all those demos. It's so exciting. And so with that, another thing I really want to call out to you is the world of solutions. If this is your first Cisco Live, you might be, what's the world of solutions? It's our digital exhibition space. There's 34 partners there. You can see everything that they're doing to extend Cisco's great innovations, and you can go to our own booths. For instance, I went in and looked at Cisco Security. There were 10 demos there that I could go to straight off the top just on Cisco Security around a lot of the features that you just saw our executives explaining. I love this idea that this digital world is a great new opportunity for us, creating new digital experiences. Well, this Cisco Live, for me, is a great example of that. There are over 100,000 of you registered now for Cisco Live. So this is becoming a huge opportunity for you to network as well. And again, if you're in that world of solutions, you can ask questions to hundreds of Cisco experts around those technologies. There's live Q&A, there's WebEx spaces that you can join to look into all of that. Some of the things that I loved, while Liz touched on over 400 new features just in WebEx alone. Again, all of that's available to you in the demos. I love Todd's demonstration of how we're transforming the infrastructure and integrating all of those solutions into a single platform. If you loved all this and you want to see more, look at those sessions, look at the Anytime sessions. If there's anything that you've missed, the Anytime sessions will pick that up, and you can learn all about that again at the URL ciscolive.com/2021. And now it's time for our local speakers to kick in. Seema, do you want to take us away on what's next?
Yeah, absolutely, Ray. I mean, what a powerful keynote. Really makes me feel proud to be working for a company that emphasizes so much on helping our people and really driving that inclusive future for all. Again, you are on the Innovation Channel. Everything that you heard our leaders talk about today is on this channel in a lot more detail, and you'll see those really cool demos being integrated into the sessions to bring those innovations to life. Now, I'm really excited about our next keynote because we are going to go local and we're going to hear from the most authentic and warm-hearted person that I've actually had the pleasure to meet, and that's Dave West, our Cisco president for APJC. He's going to be talking about how this global crisis that we've all experienced in the last 12 months has really opened up opportunities for us to rethink the future. He's going to provide insight into the 6 technology trends and discuss the future of work and how Cisco is helping businesses in APJC innovate at speed. Don't forget, if you've got any questions, please make sure that you put them into the live Q&A chat, which is to the right of the video player. And also, if you really want to have that full immersive experience, go to ciscolive.com/2021. Now, Ray talked about the WAS and the Anytime sessions and all that amazing technology library that you can get your hands access on. But you know what? And Jerry mentioned it just before. We've got some amazing, amazing performances. So you can then flick over to the leadership channel to check out our amazing performances, or even get down to those 4 deep technical channels as well. Don't forget, ciscolive.com/2021. Before we go over to Dave, though, I do want to give a bit of a call out to some of our social media gurus. We've had Ria. Welcome, Ria. She's turning it up. And we've also got Varsha, who's hanging out with Sylvia. Great to see you on our program and on our broadcast. Keep it up because I hope to see you all on the leaderboard. But now, over to you, Dave.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for being with us. I'm Dave West, President, Cisco Asia Pacific, Japan, and Greater China. I've been on the job for 65 days now, and it's been an incredible ride already. I'm not new to Cisco or the region. I've lived and worked in Asia for many years, leading Cisco Japan, APJC Technology and Architectures, and was the Chief Technology Officer for Cisco's Worldwide Partner Organization and Worldwide Sales for Enterprise Networking and Security. It's a great honor for me to be leading APJC for Cisco. I am incredibly grateful to have deep relationships with customers across the region, and I look forward to strengthening our partnership with all of you. Before I get into it today, I want to show you a video of a few activities happening across the region. Please roll the video.
In a year when the world changed forever, you helped change it for the better. Millions of students were connected right across our region. A new model for this new world. Patients and families came together while safely kept apart. And as our skies fell silent, our home offices took off. Dressing for work had never been so easy. Businesses went to the cloud, automation turning months to days to minutes. Bandwidth demand skyrocketed, and you were there. Cybersecurity became more important than ever. You enabled the lonely to talk with those ready to listen, governments to legislate, doctors to consult, and packages, millions of packages, delivered. There is no going back. No reversing of time. There's only opportunity to be better, to be more inclusive. In a year when so many were so challenged, you were there to help. And we have never been prouder to be there by your side.
Cisco, the bridge to possible.
What an incredible video. It provides a great testament to the work we are all doing together across the region to help digitize, transform, and evolve business. And what a time we're in together. The pandemic has changed the world forever. The tragedy and the challenges are irrefutable, but the global crisis has opened up an opportunity for all of us to rethink what's possible for the future. This is a time of opportunity, where organizations across all industries can aim to achieve new levels of technology-inspired innovation to drive growth for years to come. The pandemic has made one thing very clear, that what can be delivered digitally must be delivered digitally. Businesses are putting more focus and energy into digital transformation and delivering digital-first services, even those who have been slow or reluctant in the past. 75% of enterprises globally accelerated their digital efforts during the pandemic. 74% of CIOs reported that digital projects that would have normally taken a year to be approved were signed off in just a matter of weeks. We have seen perhaps 5 years, maybe a decade, worth of digital acceleration condensed into just 1 year. It's incredible. As a global community, from business to everyday society, we have cultivated huge amounts of learnings and progress to take forward with us. And what an incredible part of the world to be living and operating in, sharing our learnings at this time of tremendous possibility. The fastest growing, fastest moving, fastest innovating region in the world. Asia is set to become the global economic center of the world within the next decade. We've seen massive waves of economic growth, digitization, and innovation over the past 10 years, and this continues to accelerate. The region makes up 60% of the world's population and has the world's largest internet population. We're home to some of the most digitally advanced nations: China, Japan, South Korea, Singapore. There are 260 plus global unicorns in the region today. The APJC startup culture and investments are thriving. Application download growth is higher here than anywhere else in the world. And we're set to be the largest 5G region by 2025. And we're on track to be the top 50% of global GDP by 2040. How's that for fastest moving, fastest growing, fastest innovating? We just have to keep executing. This huge amount of growth and digitization is reflected in some of the most important technology trends we are seeing right now. Let me highlight 6 of them. And you heard Chuck talk about some of these in his keynote. Adoption of cloud experiences. In some cases, it will be public cloud. In some cases, private cloud. Demand is rising for cloud-native technologies and cloud consumption experiences, regardless of where those services are delivered. Applications are the lifeline of every business. The increasing need of our interactions to be digital require new modern apps, and those apps increasingly rely on complex cloud-native architectures to be developed and deployed more rapidly and at scale. The shift to hybrid work, the future of work, will see work and workplaces span the home and the office, and anywhere else there is secure connections to the company network. Security is moving to the cloud. The new distributed workforce and distributed applications are driving this shift. Security must be deployed everywhere and in everything that we do, from network to data to devices to users. And the transition to 5G and Wi-Fi 6. The need for connectivity has never been greater, ever. This transition is reshaping telecommunications infrastructure and unlocking new experiences from enterprise to consumers. And apps and workloads absolutely are moving closer to the users and devices, and they are increasingly delivered and consumed from the distributed edge. This is bringing computing at or near the source of the data, so apps can be more relevant where the data has value. The edge brings the cloud to wherever it needs to be. And this new world is a hybrid world. And we are laser focused as a company to help you connect, secure, and automate in a cloud-first world. To build your business agility, resilience, to be ready for today's and tomorrow's biggest challenges. But we know a cloud-only strategy won't meet the future needs of all organizations. Many of you will look to balance infrastructure requirements between on-premise and the cloud. And you'll need to manage a multi-cloud environment for workload optimization, secure connectivity policy, and threat protection and response. We can help. You need strong partners to help you succeed in today's digital world. You need a platform to connect it all together so that you can make it all possible. This is our focus and commitment, to leverage the breadth and the depth of our portfolio to provide you value and differentiation, and provide the platform for your end-to-end digitization, your automation, orchestration, integration, management across cloud and on-prem, pervasive security, zero trust, capabilities at the edge, the future of work, and the internet for the future. We're all in. But it's more than just our technology, our portfolio. It's our people, experts when you need them. It's about choice, how you consume IT, CapEx, OpEx, as-a-service offerings. And it's about partnership to help you build your digital strategies through activation and adoption so that you can turn your technology investments into business value faster through outcomes. With technology, people, choice, and partnership in mind, I want to take a moment to talk about the future of work, one of the most pressing priorities for companies right now. And there's a requirement to manage it across distributed workforce and environment. First, let's talk about secure remote work. There will remain an ongoing need to enable an engaging, productive, and secure home office environment. Even when the pandemic is over, we've all learned that mass disruption can happen at any time, and contingencies must be in place for future disruption, in whatever form they take. Plus, research tells us employees prefer this new way of working. A study commissioned by Cisco on Workforce of the Future found that 88% of employees in Asia Pacific favor a blend of office and remote work. And then we have return to office. And this is starting to happen across the region right now. But the new office shouldn't look like the one of the past. It will require the best quality collaboration with integrated security. Almost every meeting will be a hybrid meeting with employees in the office, at home, and on the road. That's why WebEx now has over 50 new features, including things like noise cancellation and real-time translation in over 100 languages. We are adding amazing additions to the virtual experience every day. In addition, the new office needs to be safe, intelligent workplace with capabilities like alerts for staff when conference rooms are reaching capacity. The new office has automation, insights, and artificial intelligence. We are delivering all of this with you. Digital innovation is the bridge to possible in Asia Pacific, Japan, and Greater China. A huge part of our role as a company is enabling and accelerating innovation in the region. And we do this through company digitization and country digitization. This is about much more than positioning technology. It's about the role technology plays in creating benefit for everyone. We're working with business and governments right across the region to drive transformation across all key industries to create better experiences and outcomes for their customers, employees, and citizens. I'll share just a few examples. In Australia, we've partnered with the government, K-12 schools, and universities to expand the digital schools network across the entire country. This will help prepare students for the future with access to digital platforms and learning environments. In ASEAN, we've worked with leading financial institutions to bring the next era of digital banking to life for end customers, as well as transforming the work experience for banking employees. In China, the critical role of technology was made very clear at the onset of the pandemic, when technology transformed mission-critical services. This meant hospitals could deliver services such as remote doctor-patient treatment at the height of uncertainty. In India, the nation has a goal to be a global manufacturing powerhouse. To get there, they need more efficient logistics. We are partnering some of India's largest ports to improve turnaround times, prevent loss of revenue and equipment failure through real-time monitoring, increased efficiency through energy management logistics, and improve employee communications and safety. This will help India move closer to its goal to be a $5 trillion economy by 2025. And in Japan, we've recently announced our collaboration with the Japanese government, which includes mass-scale digitization projects to support an inclusive pandemic recovery. It will fast-track digitization across industries and sectors, including government, education, healthcare, and business. The aim is to build a digitally inclusive society, more resilient economy, and the workforce of the future. The opportunity to drive value through digitization has never been greater. It's how companies, countries, and communities will innovate and thrive in the future. And we will continue to play our part in helping our customers everywhere make this happen. I was lucky enough to catch up with some of our customers just a few days ago to hear how they are thinking about technology and the future. How have the events of the past 12 plus months made you rethink how your organization uses technology? And what will you do differently in the future?
These platforms in the past we're seeing mainly as these video conference tools that we will get for meetings, we will get for conversations. Today, they have evolved to a sense of creating communities. And we are able to create a community in which we're able now to invite some senior global leaders to be part of these meetings, things that in the past will not have happened because the simple thing of traveling. So now these platforms have allowed us to really bring know-how, bring knowledge, and bring very unique points of view, even though that we're working from home.
We look at technology in the past 12 months from two different lenses. One is, how do we keep the culture connected? Harman's got a terrific culture of innovation, teamwork, collaboration, and inclusion, and our ability to move to a very quick hybrid workforce with 30,000 employees around the world and keep the culture connected has been very important to us. The second has been keeping connected with our customers. So our ability to maintain a level of business continuity and delivery to our customers is incredibly important. So the ability to provide virtual venues, as well as training to distributors and installers of our products, has allowed us to stay very closely connected with our customers.
The core of digital transformation is about how well connected the enterprise is. Here, we need to connect all relevant enterprise assets in order to support the ever-demanding requirements of real-time business intelligence. The Foxconn Digital Superhighway Initiative is a major part of our transformation focus and aims to accelerate connectivity within Foxconn.
What we've done over the past 5 years has proven over the last 12 months that our strategy was right. So we did not have to quickly run and prepare any part of our technology to allow for remote capability. All of our employees switched to remote working overnight, no issue at all. The network handled it, everything was fine, which gave us an ability to help the business in any new endeavor they wanted to do, whether it be COVID related, which all of it was. We were there to help them. So we were first in across the world in many retail initiatives as a result of our technology strategy being spot on. A big part of that was our network strategy with yourselves.
Where do you see technology having the most powerful or meaningful impact on your business as you look to the future?
Harman and the 30,000 employees around the world have a purpose and a passion to deliver connected experiences in the home, in the car, on the go, and in the workplace. And with the continued evolution of 5G, autonomous, artificial intelligence, cloud, edge, and cybersecurity, we believe all of those areas are going to help us continue to innovate and drive some substantial competitive products, both in the automotive world as well as the consumer audio industries.
Grab became in Southeast Asia a key component of the day-to-day life of people in these cities that were under lockdown. And we used technology, a huge digital transformation process that we already had it in place that it was going to take us about 12 to 13 months. We turned around and that digital transformation, we did it in 4 weeks. We are making sure that the community in Southeast Asia is having a better life even through this pandemic. Even from the perspective, just recently, we vaccinated over 17,000 drivers in Indonesia. And we use our platform to let them know that now we have this capacity so they could come and get vaccinated. At the same time, using our platform, our digital, or what we call our super app, we were able to help governments to move healthcare workers, the first responders, to help in the hospitals and take them back to their homes. So for us, it's this capacity of having these platforms that we'll be using for ride-hailing. Fairly quickly, we transform them into no ride-hailing, but how do we service in a digital way to our community.
Can you share an example or talk a bit about how Cisco has helped your organization at any time to solve a challenge or create better business outcomes through our technology?
In video conferencing, we went from 300,000 minutes a month to 1.7 million minutes a month. So that's tremendous. When you look at the simplicity, the scalability, the security of the products, both from a unified collaboration and communication perspective, but also with the software-defined wide area networks, the security that we implemented around virtual private networks, multi-factor authentication, and also network access controls. All of those things coupled together have made it simpler, smarter, scalable, and secure for our 30,000 employees all over the world.
I would point to the stability first and foremost. And that is not just the Cisco brand, but App Dynamics has played a huge part in what we do in problem solving and prediction of potential issues. Cisco has been with us since day one on my journey here as in my new role. We've taken on a huge partnership, and part of that partnership was putting together our strategy for software-defined network and a new state-of-the-art secure network to support everything we're doing.
Cisco is our strategic partner in regard to the Foxconn Digital Superhighway Initiative. We are partnering in many areas, For example, the next generation of network infrastructure, cybersecurity protection, intelligent operation automation, and the stealth detection of abnormal behavior. We will continue leveraging Cisco's technologies and know-how to accelerate the pace of digital transformation within Foxconn.
We know you're facing critical challenges that need to be met, and we are here to help you do it, to rethink the future, to meet your most important challenges, and to help you create your most important opportunities, to reimagine your applications, empower your teams, transform your infrastructure, and secure your data, to help you drive digital innovation so you can thrive today and in the future, and to partner with you for the whole journey. Thank you again for being here with us and for your trust in Cisco. And please enjoy Cisco Live.
There's a world where every one of us is connected. Everyone. Everywhere. Where everyone is included. Where everyone has access to information, education, opportunity.
There's so much out there. I'm going.
There's a world where buildings are smarter, where automation fuels productivity. And our planet's health is as important as our own. There's a world where everyone is invited to participate, to contribute, to be bold. When everyone and everything is connected,
that's really beautiful.
Anything is possible.
Good morning.
Cisco, the bridge to possible.
Isn't Dave amazing? What a way to set the stage for the next 2 days. Great to see all the innovation that's accelerating in our region and the role that technology is playing across so many of our industries. And it's really interesting to hear some of our customers and how quickly they've had to really accelerate their digital transformation and rethink about the use of technology in their organisations, given the events that we've all experienced over the last 12 months. Now, if you want to go deeper into anything that he talked about, particularly towards the end of his session, you can upgrade your pass to an all-access pass. It's pretty much like the all-you-can-eat. You get everything. So you have to go to ciscolive.com/2021. And I also want to talk to you about what we call these anytime sessions. There's a whole library full of them, over 350. And so they're the types of sessions that you could watch at any time, at your convenience. You can even favourite the ones that are really important to you. And don't also forget about the connected learning sessions. Now, they're going to be available to you after our broadcast, and there's about 100 of them, but you have to be quick. You have to actually be quick for those because spaces are limited. And you'll be able to find them if you go to the session catalogue. Don't forget, again, join us on social media. The thing that's making me really smile at the moment is all the photos that are coming through, and I've just been checking out people's pets and people are with their kids. It's really fun. So make sure you join the conversation with hashtag Cisco Live and tag us at Cisco Live APJC. We'd love to see your photos and get you out there on the gallery. Don't forget too to fill out the survey. Really important that we hear from you so we know what you're thinking, because that's going to really shape the future of next Cisco Live. Now, Ray, could you tell us what's next on the agenda?
Hey, thanks, Simo. Hey, APJC, it's time to get into the detail. We've got our first deep dive session coming up in the Innovation Channel, and I'm so excited about this. All of our speakers have spoken about how we're in a cloud-first world. We're cloud native. Our digital applications have to move through multiple clouds to deliver for our end customers. And that's what this session is going to be all about. And demos. There's going to be some really cool demos I think you're going to enjoy. Now, hey, remember, if you want to talk to our experts live, even during the session, don't forget there's live Q&A if you're on Cisco Live ciscolive.com/2021. So again, ciscolive.com/2021. You can join the Q&A, talk to our experts if you've got questions. And remember, you can go see demos afterwards in the world of solutions. Let's watch now.
Welcome again to Cisco Live. This is an opportunity for us to have a good time with you and to take you a little bit deeper in this innovation talk. This is SASE as well as Network as a Service. I hope you enjoyed the keynote. We are very excited about taking you through this session today. I'm James. I am here with G, and we've had some exciting times. So 2021, we're extremely excited about as well. As you all know, 2020 took an impact on us all around the world. In some ways, it impacted us personally, and then also, G, it also impacted us from a business perspective as well.
Yeah, thanks, James. Wow, what a difference a year makes. Overnight, entire industries had to switch to remote work. And now the network is not just the WAN, but the internet. And so latency, security, visibility are all essential for business connectivity to applications. In this environment, traditional networking and security are even more complex. And James, I'm so excited to be with you to outline Cisco's strategy for our secure access service edge and network as a service in today's presentation.
Thank you, G. And you mentioned the network transformation. So let's take a little closer look at some of the evolution that's taking place within the network. When you think about the fact that we were all sitting in campuses and branches around the globe, you know, the network was very different, but very traditional based on our experiences over the last decade plus. And one of the things that we see is we see this tendency to go site to site. You also see the core things at the center of today's or yesterday's networks, if you will, that were anchored around MPLS, transport, core routing services, perimeter security. But when you look to the right, you begin to look at the right side of this particular diagram here, you will see that the networks have in fact changed. We're all working remotely, we're all over the place, and that is creating quite an interesting dynamic where the internet basically becomes a network. And so you begin to see a need for users to get to applications from anywhere at any time. That also begins to see a few other things begin to rise up to the top, like cloud on-ramp and SD-WAN and IP overlays and even application SLAs, which are, you know, again, things that are just prominent in this internet-centric world. But one of the things that's also at the center of that is the internet and cloud. And when the cloud becomes at the center of things and the internet becomes at the center of things, you will see requirements begin to bubble up. And one of those requirements is around security, and in particular, architecture as well. And so with that in mind, I'd love for you now to maybe take over and let's take everyone through SASE and what that means and the impact of this environment on that.
Thanks, James. With applications moving into the cloud and users logging in from anywhere, our customers are telling us that the biggest problem they face is how to securely connect these together. Our solution is to move your secure WAN to the cloud edge. This is being referred to as Secure Access Service Edge, or SASE. SASE brings together security, networking, and visibility into one place instead of siloed point solutions you've experienced historically. We are integrating these capabilities into one single integrated service cloud. By doing this, we'll be able to better solve the problems that you face today. We can lower costs with higher productivity. We can radically simplify your operations, allowing you to focus on the high value objectives, the business objectives you have, and truly leverage your cloud migration. We can also better collaborate between the NetOps folks and the security operations teams with more operational consistency, producing faster time to value. And finally, improving your network and security with complete end-to-end visibility and control. For more than 3 decades, Cisco has created the market-leading network technologies that you all depend on. For over a decade, we have brought you cloud-native security services. And for the first time, we're bringing these core building blocks together. And even more recently, we bring in zero trust and end-to-end visibility. Now we are making it easier than ever with our new SASE bundle that allows you to transition to a single subscription service in the future. We recognize that everyone is at a unique point in their SASE journey, and we can bridge your solution to wherever you are in your journey. Whether you're looking to on-ramp traffic into the cloud, securely connect remote workers, or security from on-prem into the cloud, we can help. So let's see how this works. We're taking the entire WAN and security stacks together, providing a single cloud edge, enabling you to deliver seamless, secure access to any application on any user's network. By moving the secure WAN into the cloud, and not just a few features here and there, we're able to increase the performance. We can dynamically select the best path across the SD-WAN fabric, including providing high quality of service, optimizing SaaS applications, driving efficiency in the middle mile, and more. And the security side, we've already brought together firewalls, secure web gateways, DNS security, and CASB in Cisco umbrella. And now at Cisco Live, we're announcing the availability of data loss protection and remote browser isolation. And we'll be expanding to include workload security. JT Clay, one of our technical marketing engineers, is going to walk us through a quick demo of how easy it is to get up and running with Meraki and Umbrella integrated together.
Thank you so much, G, and hello everyone. We're going to give you a sneak peek at what we're working on for Cloud On-Ramp to extend your Meraki SD-WAN Auto VPN to Umbrella SIG in the Meraki dashboard. This is using the Umbrella SIG connector. Our remote sites have already been configured as VPN spokes, so we're ready to start the on-ramp process. Here you can see we're at the Cloud On-Ramp screen, and this is found by navigating to the Umbrella SD-WAN connector under your organization settings. Once there, we'll click the Connect Umbrella SIG, and we're presented with a form where we will input our Umbrella API key, secret, and organization. Once we've filled out this form, we can then click Submit, and we'll see that the button changes from Connect to Deploy Umbrella SIG. Once we've clicked the Deploy button, we'll then need to supply a name for our connector. Here we're going to use the name SIG US. And then we'll select both our primary and our secondary data center, here selecting Los Angeles and New York, for example. Optionally, we can select to deploy the connector as a hub and all of our sites configured as Auto VPN spokes. If left unchecked, we'll just need to deploy these later on. We can then click Submit. Once we've clicked Submit, we can navigate to our Deployment tab, where we can see our primary and secondary data center, LAX and New York City. We can then navigate to our organizational overview page, where we'll see two new networks that have names that correspond to the two Umbrella data centers that we have selected. From there, we can look at our Umbrella dashboard and navigate to our network tunnels, and we'll see two new tunnels that have been created with names that correspond to the serial number of the connectors that we have deployed in the Meraki dashboard. Now that we've deployed these tunnels, we can now apply a policy to the tunnel and start securing this tunnel traffic. Back to you, G.
Thanks, JT. That is amazing. No other vendor offers the breadth of assets and the expertise across networking and security for both on-prem and in the cloud. With Talos Intelligence, we provide the industry's most comprehensive threat prevention in real time, giving you market-leading protection. And we're building a service that securely connects users, networks, applications, all together, everything in between. No matter where you are in your cloud journey, we enable you to evolve your architecture at your own pace. We ensure that your investments are future-proof, but we're not stopping at SASE. To talk about that, James is coming back right after this short video.
In today's world, your way is the way. Now, you can get that same simplicity and flexibility across your business as a service. We're transforming how you consume and use technology with an ecosystem that's designed around your needs. That's IT your way, an unparalleled experience that ensures your business runs as you intended. That's Cisco Plus, simplified IT your way.
Hopefully you are energized by that video. I am so excited to announce Cisco Plus. Cisco Plus is the brand for Cisco and Partner Certified as a Service offers. It gives us an opportunity to be able to take products and move those products into complete solutions to deliver really specific outcomes and unparalleled experiences. The Cisco Plus brand is just an extension of the world-class brand, which is Cisco, that you helped us to create. And then it's Cisco Plus, and that plus are all the capabilities that we will envelope underneath the Cisco Plus brand. So we're going to anchor with the brand in 3 areas, and this is something that you will see as we roll offers out that fit underneath the Cisco Plus family. We're going to anchor around simple. You've asked us to kind of simplify the way that you do business with us, simplify the experience when you're on our platforms and our offers. And so we're going to significantly simplify that and make sure that that experience is one that will bring you back time and time again. Also predictable. We want to make sure that the outcomes that we deliver are going to be predictable every time. We're going to ensure that you can trust in us to be able to deliver the service level objectives that you desire and give you that level of predictability. Also intelligence. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is being able to take lots of data and insights and then to use that insight to help our customers make the right decisions, whether those are buying decisions or whether those are operational decisions to make the adjustments necessary to achieve the value that you desire. And so that intelligence will also be another one of the key anchor points within the Cisco Plus brand. It will also give us the ability over time to make sure that the experience you see gets richer and richer as we get more and more insight. It will also be a plan or a brand where we can ensure that you can consume very flexibly. You'll be able to buy all of these offers as a subscription, flexibly consumed. And then finally, again, as we mentioned up front, this will be extensible to our partners because, again, we understand the value that our partners provide for us. We want to make sure we create the right lanes of value for our partners. So as we think about Cisco Plus and now the offer around network as a service, we will have a number of our offers that will fall under the Cisco Plus umbrella. Network as a service, as it evolves and as it comes to market, will be a Cisco Plus offer. We want to try to make sure that with network as a service that we not only leverage our leading networking capability, but also we want to make sure that we leverage the security strength that you heard G talk about. And then, of course, we're going to also talk a little bit more about visibility. Those, we believe, give us the combination that will allow you to receive and achieve the outcomes that you desire. There are a few things we want to make sure we also cover. And that is, one of those is around optimized application experiences. Oftentimes, how we feel when we go online has all to do with the application experience and our ability around traffic management and routing, our ability around visibility and assurance will ensure that the application experience is going to be the best that you could possibly have. Also, security and visibility. When we talk about what makes for that trusted environment, those trusted offers, security will be paramount. You heard G talk a lot about that. Visibility is another area that we have a leading portfolio powered by Thousand Eyes, and you will hear more about that as we kind of move into a little bit of a deeper look. But we believe that networking, security, and visibility give us leading solutions in the network as a service space that you can leverage to get all the outcomes you deserve. Also, future-proof investment. One of the things that you've always asked us to do is to make sure that if you make investments, you've got the right bridge forward. You heard G mention this as well. But we will ensure that if you buy a SASE bundle today, that you will have a very favorable treatment bridging you into the future network as a service offer as well. We want to make sure that we continue to protect your investment. What I would like to do now is maybe go to the next one, and let's take a little bit of a deeper look. This is the architecture slide that G had also talked about. He focused a lot on the left-hand side, which is security. I'm going to talk a little bit about the right-hand side here, which is our core strength in networking. And then I want to zero in a little bit on the network as a service platform, because this is going to be key to how we differentiate and going to be key to how we rapidly move through our portfolio of offers and deliver you a continuous stream of value. So the platform itself is going to have some key capabilities. And what's cool about this is that it will give us the ability to build these capabilities once. And then when we bring new technologies and new capabilities into the portfolio, then these will already be there and they'll simply be extensible throughout the new capabilities. So what does that mean? That means that the speed at which we will be able to build offers on top of the platform are going to be unmatched. And that is going to be key. It also means that we take a lot of our leading innovations and we move that into the network as a service platform. So we're going to have API extensibility, which will create, lots of lanes of value for partners and also for other technologies that we want to incorporate into the platform. This policy engine, that means that we will have the ability to automatically distribute policy, cross-domain, across the full fabric as we need. And that's going to be something that will also simplify significantly your operational challenges. The global cloud on-ramps is going to be technology that will allow us, you heard G talk about this, but one of the key things is how do we get any user to any app, to any cloud, anywhere at any time, and having the ability with all of our world-class networking, traffic management technologies, will be able to truly leverage this global on-ramp capability from the platform, and that'll be extensible as well. In the area of ML and AI, this is an area we've done a lot of work in. We're going to talk about how that kind of plays hand in hand with our observability as well. But one of the things we're going to do is we're going to continue to evolve, and later you will see some predictive technology that continue to elevate the experience that you're going to have with the NAS platform. We also have health monitoring. Really key in cloud environments is to be able to have that always on ability to monitor the health and to assure that everything is functioning as it has been designed. Observability, this is something that we really believe in, and we believe that it is a must-have if you're going to have a SASE architecture, network as a service platform. You must have observability. We're very pleased and fortunate to have Thousand Eyes be a key part of our portfolio, and it will be one of the key technologies that you will see in our network as a service platform. And then finally, we also have here the self-serve portal. We know that everyone has different ways that they want to experience the platform and our offers, and one of those is through a self-service portal, and that capability will also be made available, through the cloud platform, and that will be certainly something that not only our customers but also our partners can take advantage of. And so this is kind of a look beneath the surface, if you will, at the architecture level. And one of the things I would love for you to be able to see now is a more simplistic view of what this really looks like through a demonstration. And I would like to ask Yarden Harev, who is one of our technical marketing engineers, to come and to give you a sense of not only the simplicity of what the offer could look like as we evolve it and we deliver it down the road, but also the power in the simplicity. And so with that, I want to turn it over to Yarden.
Thank you, James. With the Cisco WAN as a service, we will interconnect any user to any application. That user could be working from home, working from the branch, or they could be on the road. We'll be able to connect them to any application. That could be a private application or a SaaS application. It's built on top of the Cisco Cloud, which is a network of global points of presence that was built and is optimized to carry customer traffic in a secure way that is powered by Cisco Umbrella's security. All of that is served in a single unified subscription, allowing customers to scale up and scale down as they need in a very flexible way. With the Cisco Secure WAN as a Service, we not only interconnect all those different entities to each other, but we also give you a very simplified, single pane view into everything that's connected to your network, whether those are remote users working from home, sites, either Meraki or Viptela, web traffic, and private or public apps, together with a broader view of the uptime of the Cisco Cloud and the amount of threats that were blocked by our service. With the Cisco Secure WAN as a Service, we also want to give you simplified management of your network across your user sites and applications. And this is really the goal in this overview page here. We really care about you seeing how well are your users connected to applications, and whether that is seeing how many users are online, what is the state of connectivity of your sites, how many threats were blocked, or how well your applications are performing. You'll be able to see all you need in this page with a very simple drill down into the things that you care about as an administrator. So as I go to the policy page here on top of the screen, I can very easily see what policies are applied and which identities they are applied to. So I can apply the same policy to Viptela sites, to Meraki sites, and to remote users in a single click. I hope this helps you understand how the Cisco Secure WAN as a Service could help you in the future, so stay tuned for more details. And James, back to you.
Thank you, Yarden. I really appreciate you going through that, and hopefully that gave you a sense of not only the simplicity, but also the power of looking at those use cases, use cases where you begin to see the flexibility of the connectivity. You begin to see that holistic policy distribution as well around policy management. And so hopefully that was perfect for letting you know that even though there's a lot of value and technology beneath the surface, we've got a really smooth, simple, predictable, intelligent platform that you'll be able to experience. And so now this kind of brings us to the end of our journey here, hopefully through the lens that G presented on SASE, walking us through the SASE journey. What I presented to you around network as a service, giving you the opportunity to see where we're going and what we're going to be delivering to you down the road. You got a chance to see and experience what the power of networking, security, and observability is going to mean. And you also got a chance to see the Cisco Plus brand for our as a service offers, which is going to deliver a trusted degree of outcomes and experiences for you. I know your journey in Cisco Live is not over, but what we want to make sure you do is you see on the screen here some resources that you can also click to get more insights around SASE and Cisco Plus brand. And then you also have some other sessions that we would love for you to be able to check out to give you more insight on networking, more insight also on our observability offers. So with that, I want to just thank you again for the trust you place in Cisco. We thank you so much for attending this session and for attending Cisco Live. And we hope that the rest of your Cisco Live journey is a great one. Thank you.
Wow, Cisco Plus, what an announcement. Did you get to see it? I hope you caught that last session. I am super excited about Cisco Plus, and I don't know about you, I've got questions, right? We're all looking to secure our users, secure our data, secure our processes, and Cisco Plus is such an exciting way to look at that. If you've got questions, if you want to see more demos, remember, if you're at ciscolive.com/2021, there's live Q&A, there's the World of Solutions, and you can go see the demonstrations, and you can ask our experts questions. They're all standing by. So hey, big call out to the first timers. Don't be shy. Get in there with your Q&A. We'd love to respond to you. Now, there's another great way you can connect with the experts. Hey, Seema, do you want to tell us about the Gateway?
Oh, I would absolutely love to, Ray. It is firstly an amazing, amazing program. So if you want to continue the conversation after Cisco Live is over, then you can join this inclusive customer community. There's over 17,000 members who are passionate about Cisco technology, as I'm sure you all are. And it's your chance and opportunity to build powerful connections, speak to top experts in your field, and have that direct gateway into Cisco and all our resources. So to join, you can visit cisco.com/go/the gateway, but that's very complicated. Ray did tell me if you go down to the bottom of the page, of the homepage, you'll be able to find it there. So now we're going to take a dance party break. Over to you.
Somewhere out there, some really smart people are having a great conversation about the very latest. The latest analytics tools, the latest breakthrough in AI and machine learning, and you want to listen in? Cisco Champion Radio, a podcast by technologists for technologists.
Today's campus environments rely on an ever-complex web of digital services reaching across the global internet. Every day, users access externally hosted applications, cloud services, and multiple ISPs over hundreds of networks. But with no visibility over these networks and applications, it can take hours or even days to locate and fix problems. Problems that directly impact your service outcomes. Ensuring service delivery on campus requires visibility off campus, end-to-end, from switch to SaaS and everything in between. That visibility has arrived. Introducing Thousand Eyes Service Assurance for Catalyst 9000, now part of your DNA software subscription for new and existing Catalyst 9K customers. With Thousand Eyes, you can see every network hop across the internet to SaaS applications, your data center, and cloud-based services. Thousand Eyes Vantage Points are now included on your Catalyst 9000, so you can quickly and easily start seeing beyond your own network. With comprehensive insight across service providers, you can pinpoint issues fast and fix them, or escalate them to the right party. So you can deliver the experience your users expect and your business depends on. The industry's best enterprise switch now has the industry's best SaaS service assurance solution. Thousand Eyes and Catalyst 9000. Your view of the network just got a whole lot bigger.
All right, here we go. It's another dance set. This one, it's sponsored by Intel. Let's go. Let's have some fun. Let's turn it up. It's DJ Nick hanging out with you guys. Let's have some fun. Now, I know you guys can have a little bit of fun while you're at home, right? So get up, wave your hands back and forth. Nobody's watching you. I know I've done it with you guys in Vegas. So I know that now on a global stage, virtually, we can all do it together. Let's have some fun. Let's enjoy ourselves. Cisco Live 2021, that is what it's all about. It's about bringing everyone together, even if it is globally and virtually this year. Let's have some fun. Now here's a good build up. Here's a good build up. 1, 2, 3, let's go. All right, only 30 more seconds in this little dance break. Come on, let's go. Once again, a huge shout out to our sponsor of this dance break, Intel. Thank you so much. Everybody, hope you're having fun. Cisco Live 2021. My heart rate's going now. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys. Let's have some fun. It's DJ Nick. Come on.
back, everyone. Hope you all had a lot of fun and got some chances to stretch your legs and have a bit of a dance. I certainly did. Well, our next session is all about the Internet of the future and the amazing groundbreaking innovations that we've had in silicon and optics that enable us to deliver routed optical networks at massive speed. You'll get to hear 3 customer case studies from Azure, Lumen, and Smart. So many and all of their challenges. So hope you enjoy the session and we'll see you real soon.
I want to create stories that take people through new worlds like a roller coaster. Filmmaking is a creative medium that uses a lot of moving parts. And the faster technology gets, the better it is for a creative person. It's building and it's growing faster. And I see that happening with Cisco.
Between the film industry as it is and the film industry as it will be, there's a bridge. Cisco, the bridge to possible.
The digital divide is real. In fact, there are over 3 billion people around the entire world that have either no connectivity or underserved, which means they have less connectivity than they need. The real question for all of us is, how do we enable to connect the next billion users around this planet? Well, we at Cisco believe that this can be done through innovation and dramatically lowering the cost of both buying and procuring equipment, but also being able to manage operationally that equipment as well. Back in December of 2019, 15 months ago, we actually launched the Internet for the Future, where we talked about innovations in silicon, systems, and optics. And less than 15 months later, we have a whole new set of innovations to talk to you about today. We have, since then, 9 new additional pieces of silicon to add to our Silicon One portfolio, which brings the total to 10. We also have completed our Acacia acquisition, which brings in a whole new set of digital coherent optics, as well as the future of how networks will be built that we are calling routed optical networks. So with that, what I'd like to do is hand it over to my friend and partner, Bill Gartner, to talk about all the innovations that are happening and how you're going to fundamentally change how networks are built for the future for the internet.
Thanks, Jonathan, and I'm delighted to be here today. I want to tell you a little bit about what's happening with routed optical solutions, routed optical networking, and some of the innovation that's going into that. Traditionally, networks have been deployed with at least 2 and sometimes 3 distinct layers: an IP layer for packet services, an OTN layer for private line and OTN services, and an optical layer that really efficiently manages the capacity on the fiber. But that also included ROADMs that were used to bypass routers that were considered to be the most precious resource in the network. There were good economic reasons for doing this 10 years ago, but it led to significant complexity with separate control planes, separate data planes, separate planning and operations, and separate product life cycles. This multi-layer architecture led to really significant operations complexity with separate management solutions for the IP domain, separate management solutions for the optical and OTN domain, and no way to really optimize things between those layers. Now, as we look at the network economics, what we know is that the interconnect of those layers is where there's significant cost. That optics interconnect is something that we have to figure out either how to reduce the cost or change the architecture to eliminate that cost. In 2019, Cisco acquired Luxtera, and Luxtera has developed an industry-leading silicon photonics platform. They really delivered on the promise of silicon photonics, which is to leverage the semiconductor industry and its manufacturing processes to achieve scale in the manufacturing of short-reach optics that are used in data center and telco applications. More recently, we were thrilled to close the acquisition of Acacia. Acacia's coherent portfolio has applications outside the data center in things like metro, long haul, and subsea applications. But one of the key innovations that Acacia brings is in delivering coherent pluggables that replace the need for chassis-based transponders in many applications. This enables a massive architectural simplification. Additionally, these pluggables allow us to capitalize on some recent trends towards open systems. Historically, optical systems were closed, but Cisco is strongly supportive of industry consortiums like TIP and Open ROADM, which are driving disaggregation and open solutions. These provide customers with increased choice and eliminate the fear of vendor lock-in. As we look to simplify networks and eliminate layers, just look at the chain of products that are required to get a signal from a router into the fiber today. A router port has a short reach optic that connects to a fiber jumper, that connects to a short reach optic that is part of a transponder sitting in a chassis, that then has a long reach optic that finally connects to a ROADM that delivers the signal onto the fiber. As we delayer the network and leverage some of the newer routing and optics technologies, we can eliminate many of these interconnects, simplifying operations and significantly reducing cost, space, and power. The future is much simpler, leveraging high-capacity router ports and ZR and ZR+ pluggables, DWDM optics, and the economic benefits are real. CapEx savings arise from the elimination of discrete optics and systems, and OpEx savings arise from reduced power and space and overall simplification of operations. We'd be happy to engage you directly to see how you might be able to take advantage of some of these innovations to drive benefits in your network. Now, Kevin is going to speak about innovation in mass scale routing.
Thanks, Bill. To take advantage of routed optical networking, we've had to revamp our entire mass scale portfolio. So whether it's the NCS portfolio in access and aggregation, the ASR 9K in the edge, or the Cisco 8000 in the core, we've rebuilt the entire portfolio to enable ZR and ZR+ optics, and we leverage iOS XR from end to end to enable us to deliver seamless services across this network. We enable protocols like segment routing and EVPN to really enhance the services that our customers can offer. Segment routing's been around for almost a decade now, and we're enhancing and enriching that network stack, allowing our customers to do things like advanced performance monitoring across the routed optical network, circuit-style segment routing policies, and even point-to-multipoint technologies to enable services to run across segment routing that could never run before. Then we can enable services with EVPN, enabling better service resiliency and point-to-multipoint service delivery with technologies like eTree. Once we build that network infrastructure, we have to automate it. And so our focus is to deliver visibility, action, and insights across the network in an inherently software-defined and autonomous infrastructure. We leverage cloud-enhanced technologies to scale, and we can deliver across multi-vendors and across multi-domains. And then lastly, we have to make sure that whatever we deliver is scalable and adaptive to whatever our customers need. Back to you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Kevin and Bill, for just a phenomenal tour through all the great innovations that the team has been coming up with around silicon, systems, optics, and software. I could not be more excited about the transition of network architectures, really the first major transition in over 30 years. So let's now hear directly from our customers on their thoughts on routed optical networks.
So when we talk about mass scale infrastructure, Microsoft is building some of the largest networks in the world. What are some of the challenges that you see as you scale out a network like that?
Well, job number one for us is reliability. The customers who home their online services on things like Microsoft Azure depend on us for all the traffic flowing through their services. So we have to build networks that are fully redundant. Our software has to maintain those networks running at high quality, and they have to be really big. As you mentioned, Microsoft runs one of the largest clouds. That means that scaling up, being able to continuously add capacity to our network, even while we're in full production, is a critically important thing. Another thing we worry about is power and cost. We have to make sure that as our networks get bigger and bigger, they actually leave enough power for the servers in our data centers and aren't consuming too much of that footprint. We also, of course, worry about cost because the premise of the cloud is that we can build a very large shared cost-optimized infrastructure, which then we can virtualize so that each of our customers can have exactly the private data center, the private virtual networks that they want to see at low cost.
So as we see this continued network growth, we see silicon and optics as being critical technology components in these infrastructures. How does this influence how Microsoft thinks about their network as you move from 100 gig to 400 gig and beyond?
Okay, great question. Again, we continue to see ourselves adopting new technology as soon as it becomes available. We're working with the industry to actually make sure that the technologies we need to improve the data centers become available. Types of things that we worry about there is making sure that we can collect all of the components of our system into a single well-managed network. Part of that, making sure that we have technologies like 400G, 400ZR optics available at low cost and high quality. And then we can manage them using the same software. In our case, that's Sonic. We're looking to take the software for open networking in the cloud and deploy it across all of our systems, from our smallest single ASIC pizza box router to the various largest chassis and wide area network devices that we use. And that includes all of our optical line systems as well.
Microsoft's definitely leading the industry when you look at open systems and things like Sonic. What are some of the values of Sonic when you look at how we're partnering on Azure?
Well, so Sonic's been a critical technology for us at getting high quality and reliability out of our network. What we found is that by being able to run a single open sourced network operating system on all of our switches, we get battle hardened, battle tested code that we know is working across all these roles. The more customers begin using Sonic, the more testing that software gets, and the more availability everyone using it in the network can receive. It also makes it easiest for us to roll out new features and capabilities and tie our network devices directly into our network management platforms so that we can manage our network devices the same way we manage our servers.
As usual, thanks a lot for the time. We really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Dave.
Thanks again for having me.
Hey, Rob, thanks very much for joining today. Really happy that you're able to join us for this session. And we wanted to just get your thoughts on a few things. So starting out as a network provider, what are some of the important business objectives that you have in creating the future?
Yeah, and thanks, Bill. At Lumen, we're really energized around furthering human progress through technology. We want to be an enabler. We want to provide a platform that opens up innovation and creativity for our customers. We want to offer that full solution so that customers can focus less on how to put together all the network components and really focus more on their innovation and the amazing things that they can do. For Lumen, it's really about establishing this hybrid cloud embedded with security and dynamic networking, and then provide it all really in this digital experience that allow our customers to interact with it and control it how they like.
Great. So what are some of the challenges you have to deal with as a network provider in delivering on that vision?
Yeah, our objective is to provide 5 milliseconds connectivity into that platform for our customers. So it will be distributed. The good news is that we have a pretty extensive fiber and network footprint to achieve that level of performance. Now, providing consistent features and capabilities across that full footprint is a little more challenging given the different generations of kit that we have deployed, different ecosystems that interact with them. That's complexity that we can't transfer on and make transparent to our customers in this digital experience. It needs to be a simple and consistent offering. Our customers interact with it the same way wherever they're located, wherever they need it. So yeah, as a network guy, that can be challenging to create that consistent experience and make it manageable for operations. Scale of these networks continues to be a challenge. Scale presents itself in different ways in different segments of the network, but growth of the internet has continued to impress me, and I don't anticipate seeing that slow down with so much focus that we have on closing this digital divide, over the top services, 5G, others. And we've been ready for 400 gig for actually quite some time. And as we get that rolled out, we will still have some very large link bundles, even with 400 gig. But it tends to be the logical scale that's more challenging. We can put together large physical networks and make that work generally, even if it's not ideal. But the constraints and things like logical customer interfaces, instances, memory for routing and forwarding, performance data, those have been probably the more common and the more difficult obstacles to overcome.
Great. And as you think about overcoming some of those obstacles, how do you think about converging IP and optical as perhaps a way that can help simplify things in your network?
We tend to think that flat is better. It's not better in all cases, but yes, layers imply transitions, imply cost, imply complexity. So if we can collapse those layers, there's definitely some value to be gained. We've been preparing for this IP optical convergence for many years, and there have been some opportunities that we've taken advantage of, but they haven't really been these consequential shifts in architecture. And even some of the value that they bring can be offset by operational complexity or other factors. While we're still early, there's some real potential in some of the open optics work being done, specifically for 400 gig right now. For IP traffic across our backbone, optical gear really still dominates the cost equation. So these developments around open optics, they're really intriguing if it can, radically change that cost structure, which we think it may. So you'll have fewer network transitions, fewer points of failure. You'll have the economic benefits, and those things I think are mostly given. How we effectively manage such a network is still an open question, I think. But if we can solve that, and I suspect we will, this could be a real inflection point in the path to convergence.
Great. Well, we certainly share your view on that. Rob, thanks very much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
Jorn, thanks so much for being here with us today. Just a few questions we'd like your thoughts on. So as a network provider, what are some of the important business objectives you have in creating the future?
Yeah, first of all, Bill, thank you for having me. It's always fun to talk about these things. So I think the business objective have been largely influenced by the last year, this massive pandemic, which basically changed the life of our customers. Therefore, much more than ever before, connectivity has become a basic need. Even more, it's a question of survival, because people don't have a job if they are not connected here in the Philippines. So it's not only a question of survival for our people, but also for the economy, because if people have no job, the economy will be influenced. Now, most important for customers, whether consumer or enterprises, is actually reliability. They want to be sure, regardless at what time of day they access their service, it is always of the same kind of performance. So reliability comes before speed. And that's something I think we have to put more focus on. And for enterprise customers, I can only say the move to the cloud has accelerated, I think, by an order of magnitude. Everything is moving online. That's the only thing, the only way to survive for many SMEs. SD-WAN is going through the roof. And also the need for security related to all this online stuff, right? And 5G comes just at the right point in time, because it gives us more capabilities to connect people at higher performance and more speed.
Great. So as you think about some of those objectives, what are some of the challenges you face as it relates to the network?
We were discussing this over the last years, also with you guys, that. And I think we had to overcome a number of paradigms. When we started to do data, we were coming from a voice-centric network. And congestion in a voice-centric network is part of the architecture. You can accept that in a busy hour, you get a busy tone, you dial again. But in the world where data, the access to data, to the internet, has become a question of survival almost, a basic need. Congestion is not something we can accept anymore. So customers really want us to give them something which they can rely on. Therefore, we, as a number one target, set ourselves the idea of a congestion-free network, which needs a different architecture than we had built before. Then for us, it was very important to move to a highly resilient, highly scalable architecture. And it is not enough to just build a network. We have to look to what services we are running there end to end. So the network, in a way, needs to be service aware or service optimized. And just in the last year, the new challenge which came about was the flexibility to move capacity around. Because when the pandemic started and the lockdown came, 30–40% of people moved out of the CBDs into the provinces or into the suburban areas and started to work from there. So while overall the data grew maybe by 30–40% in that time, in those areas we had 3 to 4 to 5 times more data. So the need to shift capacity has become also a very critical capability. So it needs to be part of the architecture and not just a problem to be solved going forward, because I don't think the world will come back to the old style. People will stay online and they will want to work from home when they want, and they will go back to the CPDs when they want. So we need to be flexible in our ability to reply.
Yeah, I totally agree. What are some of your thoughts on compelling reasons to try to converge IP and optical?
So I think when it comes to building networks congestion-free, highly resilient, highly scalable, simplification is key. It is critical to cope with the increasing scale and also the increasing innovation speed we are facing. So technologies which help us to achieve that, like converging IP and optical, which is, in my opinion, is a no-brainer, right? It was, a concept since long, and now we are there. Also, the thing you guys are doing, these pluggable DWDM optics, which provide an enormous flexibility and cost benefits, will help us to create simpler architectures, which are easier to maintain and also easier to automate. And then we can also apply algorithms which help us to move from a reactive maintenance into a predictive, big data-based maintenance, which can help us to, become more resilient and reliable.
Jorn, thank you so much. That's some really, really good insights for us. And I think you share some of the same objectives and challenges as many of your peers around the world.
Thank you, Bill. Pleasure always.
A huge thank you to our phenomenal customers for joining the session, as well as both Kevin and Bill. As you can tell, we could not be more excited about the future of networking with routed optical networks. In fact, we have 2 additional tech innovation sessions if you'd like to learn more about this. Thank you all and have a great day.
It's called the digital divide, a gap between those that have access to the internet and those that don't. And with technology advancing at blinding speeds, so too grows the gap, wider and wider. And in rural America, this gap separates more than 30 million homes and businesses from high-speed broadband service.
Here, where I live, my internet has to keep up with me.
And for me, it's a lifeline.
Fortunately, between those who have and those who don't, there's a bridge. Built on a network foundation designed to deliver the fastest speeds, the most accurate connectivity, and the promise of 5G. A bridge capable of connecting every sensor, IoT device and screen, every school and every street, everywhere, every time, and with the speed, bandwidth, reliability, and security deserving of everyone. A bridge, simpler to operate, faster to deploy, able to adapt in real time. To better connect those in need with those who provide, those who make with those who buy, those who teach with those who learn. And one company is at the heart of it all. A company of builders dedicated to a world of connection between one and all. Cisco, the bridge to possible.
Session. Amazing to see how innovation in silicon and optics is really critical to the transformation of our networks. Really enjoyed what our customers had to say as well. Now don't forget, please fill out that survey. Your feedback is super important to us and you'll be able to find it under your profile in My Surveys. Also don't forget, go and visit the World of Solutions, and the Cisco Showcase has over 36 live demos and 12 booths. You can also access a lot of the partner stands as well and go and see some of the lightning talks and demos. Amazing stuff, amazing playground of technology for you all to go and see. And while you're there, go and click on the Cisco store. There's a lot of great merchandise available to you. I just noticed on social that Anu, she got her merchandise about 10 minutes before Cisco Live started. So good on you, Anu. Hope you're wearing it. Anyway, Ray, I just want to see, has there been any action on social media?
Hey, Seema, thanks for the call out. DevNet is cutting it up. Hey, big call out. You've got to call out Susie Wee. Susie, we love that you're out there watching. You're tweeting like crazy. I love the reflexive selfies. That's really cool. I haven't seen that before. And hey, if you don't know what DevNet is, everybody, definitely have a check on it. It's about being able to be a network developer and the configurability of our network. So DevNet, always a really popular booth at Cisco Live. It's in our world of solutions. Now it's time to actually watch one of our customers. I love this customer story. It's based here in Australia. It's about a small group of really passionate IT professionals, only 3 of them, who were really keen to build a secure environment for a really critical brand. And this brand, everything that they do is actually based on trust. I don't want to steal the thunder. Let's go and watch the Salvation Army.
$18 a day. That's the average spending money for thousands of people who come to the Salvation Army seeking help.
Through our 150 years of mission delivery at grassroots, we've been able to build our significant trust with our supporters and also the people who we serve. Trust is gold to the Salvation Army. The Salvation Army is faced with the challenge of digital transformation, and it's important for our donors and also for the people we serve that we have strong security and that we protect all that data.
When I came on board, there was 10,000 staff, around 2,000 sites, multiple data centres. For my team of 3 people, our mission was to reduce that complexity, bring in simplicity wherever we could. And to do that, we needed a force multiplier. And for us, that was Cisco. We worked together to develop a roadmap that we could reduce this complexity in these different products and bring it all into the one ecosystem controlled by Cisco Threat Response. The advantage of the Cisco technology is it comes under the SecureX Threat Response dashboard that talks to these different products, email, web, endpoint, and cloud security, and allows you to have that complete visibility in one place. With this technology now deployed, it was amazing how we could then see the events happening across the network and respond to them in real time and get that actionable intelligence.
Firstly, we have a sense of relief that security is there. And that's why we need partners like Cisco who are experts in this area. We know that whatever the circumstances that people face, the Salvation Army is well positioned to hear it, to see, and to respond to the mission. And it's all built upon trust.
Ah, the good old days. Back when all of our critical apps and services ran in the data center. Everything was in one place. Easier to monitor, easier to troubleshoot. IT had more control over the app stack, network, and infrastructure. There wasn't so much finger pointing or war rooms full of people trying to figure out what to fix first. Fast forward to today, and almost any company can spin up a killer app in almost no time, and the barriers to scale are insanely low. But in our new internet-centric, hybrid, multi-cloud, serverless, distributed, disaggregated, discombobulated world, when something goes wrong, just getting to a root cause can feel like looking for a needle in a needle stack, especially when you're dependent on environments you don't own. What if it didn't have to be that way? What if you could see everything that impacts your digital supply chain, from the code to the infrastructure to the network and everything in between, and wow your customers and employees with insanely fast, proactive responses? What if your teams could be truly collaborative, even outside their comfort zones, moving gracefully between application and network data to fix what matters? With App Dynamics plus Thousand Eyes from Cisco, you can do all that and more. You can finally get your IT ops, net ops, and app ops playing from the same playbook and get full visibility into every facet of your customer's digital experience, no matter how complex, distributed, or unpredictable your environments might be. You can see more, do more, and stay ahead of issues before they affect your users. That's the power of thinking beyond siloed monitoring tools. That's the power of full-stack business observability. That's the power of App Dynamics plus Thousand Eyes from Cisco.
Stay tuned for the blockbuster hit of Cisco Live. Coming soon. Accelerate the future of work.
I love AppDynamics and Thousand Eyes and how they work together. If you love those 2 quick videos around how they work, go to the World of Solutions, and there's literally a booth about the application experience. Now it's time to hear from Mike Walsh. Mike is a futurist, and I love his authenticity in this video. He shares how difficult it is to be a futurist in the middle of a pandemic. And he's got 3 rules for how we can rethink how our world is accelerating. And these 3 rules, they really gave me a new insight to how I think about my life and my family's life. So I hope that you enjoy this session with Mike.
Hi, it's a great pleasure to be speaking to you today at Cisco Live. Although I do need to be honest with you about something. 2020 was not a great year to be a futurist. Probably wouldn't have been a great year to have been a psychic or a fortune teller either. You know what? I get asked all the time, how is it that you failed to see COVID-19 coming? And it's true, I completely missed the coronavirus. And yet, in many ways, I don't think that was my real mistake. My real mistake was underestimating the capacity of some external event like COVID-19 having the potential to not only change the world, but essentially to bring the world of 2030 forward a decade to today. And that is exactly the unusual position we now find ourselves in. Although arguably it isn't the first time we've seen a civilization scale event like this. Go back 100 years to the Spanish flu of 1918. And what is fascinating is not just the striking similarities with today in terms of masks and quarantine and social distancing, but really the extraordinary social, political, economic and cultural changes that were also unleashed by that virus. I'll give you a simple example. Take the position of women. So many men had fallen sick from the virus or had died in the war that women during this period were forced to take increasing positions of responsibility and authority. This, more than anything else, set the stage for the universal right to vote some years later. There were similar big changes in technology. Take a look at this ad from the New York Telephone Company, advocating the benefits of this disruptive new technology known as the telephone, perfect for staying in touch with friends or colleagues that might be trapped in quarantine. Now, you'd be tempted for thinking this ad came out in 1918. It actually came out a good years earlier, in 1910, at the height of an earlier cholera outbreak. You see, by 1918, so many of the human operators working in switchboards had fallen sick from the virus that telephone companies were begging their customers not to use their telephones, for fear they might in fact overwhelm the network. It's a timely reminder that then, as now, that even in a time of accelerating technologies, when it really comes to transformation, it's still human beings that really count. And I have no doubt that similarly, as we now move into this time of rapid change, we are also fast moving into a completely new world, a world that also runs on very different rules. That is what I want to talk to you about today. I've got 3 new rules I want to present to you. And here is the first. I believe that there is no longer any such thing as digital disruption, just digital delivery. Let me explain. Digital disruption. I feel like we've been talking about this for years, and I'm sure by now you know all the cliches. You had Airbnb disrupting the travel and hotel business. You had Uber disrupting the taxi and transportation business. It was like there was something special about these types of companies, as if they alone were given permission to think outside the box, to innovate, to disrupt, to do things differently. Well, if the last 18 months has made anything clear, it's simply this. We are all disruptors now. If you haven't figured out a way in this time of a pandemic to leverage automation, to leverage artificial intelligence, to work remotely, then if you haven't figured out how to truly become a digital business, well, you're probably no longer in business. When I say digital disruption doesn't exist, what I mean is it's no longer important in the way that it's become table stakes. It's become the price of doing business. It's just part of getting things done. What we really talk about now is digital delivery. It's just the part and parcel of 21st century business. If you want to get to the heart of what's really going to drive transformation in the next 5 to 10 years, then you've got to think bigger. You've got to think bolder. you've got to come up with really an answer to a more interesting question. I mean, take grocery. In the first 6 weeks of the pandemic, suddenly every supermarket realized they would have to pivot to delivering to customers at home, which required not only a whole new plan for logistics, but in many cases a completely new technology stack. But there is a big difference between being a grocer that can now work on digital channels and being, say, an Ocado, a $17 billion business, which is not just an online grocer, but essentially a technology platform that provides solutions for groceries across the world. You see behind me one of Ocado's hives. This is a constellation of robots which move at the pace of 6 meters per second. They can take a 50-item grocery order and pack it in the moment of minutes. There is a big difference between just operating on digital channels with leveraging digital technology and investing in data to really finding out how to become an AI-powered organization. Ultimately, we are now asked to answer a very difficult question, which is, what is now possible in an age of AI that was simply not possible before? To answer that question, I think we need to get to the heart of 3 core principles. Number 1, we have to figure out how we can now reinvent the way we deliver value. Tesla for me is an interesting example. I mean, what is behind Tesla's extraordinary run-up in its stock price? Is it its ability to design beautiful cars? Is it its mastery of EV battery technology? Is it its founder's unfortunate habit of sending out provocative tweets on Twitter? Well, probably none of these things. And probably more to do with the circuits that you see behind me. This is the Tesla Autopilot. It's proof that Tesla doesn't design cars. It designs computational stacks on wheels. And as you can see from this video, when Tesla does a software update, it is really a thing of beauty. What distinguishes one high-priced Tesla from maybe a cheaper one is often nothing to do with its hardware, its leather, its fit-outs or accessories. It's all software. Tesla's figured out how to increase and deliver value at zero marginal cost. It's all code. And the ability to transform a very traditional industry, such as automotive, and change the way its supply chain operates to being something that's completely based around digital and data is really the hallmark of a 21st century disruptive organization. But the second principle for me is that it's not just enough to digitalize. We also have to ask ourselves, how do we now virtualize? Part of the traditional digital transformation model is finding ways to digitize your processes end to end. But a much bigger opportunity is to ask yourself, well, how do we now look at those assets and resources and processes in a completely new way? A very interesting company is this company called Buildots from Israel. So what they started doing was putting cameras on the construction helmets of workers working on a site, so they could start to build a real-time digital twin of a building as it was in progress. Now, McKinsey estimates that site mismanagement costs anywhere between $1.5 to $1.6 trillion every single year. But what if, rather than sort of relying on traditional conveyancing methods and site management to work out where a building was, you could have a real-time digital view of that building? It would not only change the way you manage a project, it potentially would change the way you finance and manage risk as well. That is an example of virtualizing an asset rather than simply digitalizing a 20th century one. The third principle for me is your real goal as a leader in the technology community is to build for insight, not just infrastructure. You know, it's fascinating when you look at an organization like Uber Eats, because they've been able to not only build a very efficient technology stack to run the business, it's all geared with building more and more insight. So they have so much information, not only on the efficiency of their deliveries and how people are interacting with the channel, they can actually start to build a picture of the kinds of foods that people want and use that to actually seed restaurants that don't even exist. So in recent years, Uber has actually launched over 7,000 completely virtual restaurants, essentially by just looking at the pattern of searches and working and pitching the idea of restaurants to chains to actually fill gaps in needs that they can see through their data. And this is really building towards a future where we're going to have ghost kitchens that essentially supply restaurant brands that don't even exist in a bricks and mortar sense. So for me, it's really about thinking about the end point of what do you get when you now have more data, more computation, more learning algorithms. It isn't just more efficiency and more speed. More is different. At some point, you can have entirely new types of organizations, new types of platforms, new types of businesses. And finding that approach allows us to really think about what's possible in this new world. The pandemic has accelerated the digital reinvention of the world. This new era of AI-powered competition will reshape industries and organizations forever. So reinvent how you deliver value, virtualize your assets and processes, and build your infrastructure for insight. I want to give you a next action to consider as well. Constantly challenge your own assumptions about the future. Ask yourself, what are you missing? What can you learn from the youngest members of your team? Can you better incorporate their frame of reference and their experiences into your own ideas and plans for transformation? I also want to give you a mind grenade. It's like a challenge question you can think about later. What are 3 things that you thought were impossible that were in fact proved possible by the most recent pandemic? Rule number 2, there is no such thing as remote work, just work. So remote work's been something we've been talking about a lot lately, and in many ways I think the novelty has started to wear off, because while at first we were sort of entranced by the idea of not being in an office and we focused on the technology issues, suddenly we realized that the hardest part of remote work was not the technology at all. It was family interruptions. It was the cultural challenges of getting people to work effectively when they were in fact used to working together. And in fact, this is really a core insight, because it's often easy to try to focus on upgrading technology. But technology just changes, in a sense, the hardware of your organization. If you really want to change, you've got to figure out how to make culture your operating system. And this is not easy, because it's often the hardest thing when you have a new disruptive technology to figure out how it changes the way that people in an organization make decisions, the way they do things, the way they get things done. If you look at sort of the history of disruptive tech, long before AI, mobile phones, social media, probably the most disruptive technology was in fact electricity. And electricity had its iPod moment, if you like, in 1831 when the British scientist Michael Faraday invented the electric dynamo. Now this should have been the moment which unleashed a wave of transformation in industry. But actually it took a little bit longer than people expected. 5 years? 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. It actually took almost 82 years before someone came along, in this case Henry Ford, and said, so this electricity idea, this probably means we can not only power factories in a different way, we can design them in a different way as well. This was the origins of his idea of the moving assembly line, which was an early form of automation. But essentially, what happened was in the early 1900s, they'd just go to a factory, they'd take out a steam engine out, and they'd put an electric engine in. But they'd leave the whole infrastructure that had been there since the early Industrial Revolution. It took almost 100 years for someone to say, do you know what, this can fundamentally change the way we operate. We're not going to have 100 years this time. So if we can't very quickly figure out how AI, automation, algorithms, better security, how all of these things transform the way we do things, then we're in serious trouble. When I think about 21st century organizations, it's not the where that's changing, it's the how. And in particular, I think there are 5 attributes or values that will characterize modern business. And they are mobility, autonomy, memory, objectivity, and velocity. So let's talk about these. Mobility. Does it really matter where you are if you're trying to get something done? Now, you might think this question has been absolutely answered in the last 18 months, but I think we're just at the beginning of this journey. And the reason for that is that in many ways, remote work technology is nothing new. I mean, we've had prototype video phones since the 60s. But what's really changed, I think, is the bigger cultural question of how we create distributed organizations that allow decision-making to happen anywhere. Think about it. When we start to move back to a more hybrid office, will it matter whether you're working from home or whether you're sitting in the boardroom? If it does matter, then you haven't really solved the mobility challenge, because it's not the bandwidth or the VPN or the collaboration platform that matters. It's the way you set up influence and decision making and authority that really gives you your powers of mobility. The second characteristic, I think, is autonomy, which is ultimately the ability of your teams to make decisions without central control. It's a defining characteristic, I think, of success. A little while ago, I had the opportunity to interview Harit Talwar, who's the head of the consumer division at Goldman Sachs that launched Marcus. Now, you'd remember Marcus. It's one of the world's most successful digital banks. And I was fascinated because this was a startup that was essentially born in a 150-year-old, very traditional, very conservative investment bank, Goldman Sachs. And initially I thought that Marcus's success all came down to its ability to pair a fantastic business model with great technology. But Harit actually said, Mike, please don't call us a technology company. We're a customer solutions business. He said a big part of our success is actually our organizational structure. Everyone at Marcus is also part of these consumer-facing pods. They're like agile teams who are highly autonomous. They have the ability to focus on a consumer issue, and they've got the authority to solve it. And it says that ability for people to be part of those agile teams, regardless of their functional role, has really been core to the success of that business directly answering customer needs. The third characteristic for me is memory. We often talk about the power of being learning organizations, but what does that really mean? So when the pandemic first hit, I spent quite a bit of time researching companies that actually never had offices. They were designed to be remote from the beginning. One such company is Zapier, software automation firm. I interviewed their CEO and founder, Wade Foster, who told me that one of the smartest things they learned early on was the importance of recording their key decisions. So whenever a key decision gets made, they record not only the outcome, but the thinking behind it and any data they used. This is fantastic when you're trying to bring new team members up to speed on the culture of your decision making. But it also allows new people to actually challenge decisions as well by looking at the underlying assumptions and whether they've changed. The fourth characteristic for me is objectivity, which really is the ability for anyone in the company to use facts and data to challenge even established ideas. This to me has been one of the reasons why Amazon has been so successful. It isn't because they've built fantastic infrastructure or their massive investments in logistics. It's because they have been very focused on creating a data-driven culture. A great example for this is the fact that at Amazon, they have banned PowerPoint. Now, I don't know what you think about this. I think this is a great idea. I mean, think about all of the hours, the weeks, maybe the years of your life you've wasted in endless PowerPoint presentations. It isn't that PowerPoint is bad, but rather that Jeff Bezos believes that if you're going to get a decision made, it's better that people come in rather than with a big presentation, with a highly structured, carefully thought out 6-page memo that someone's put a lot of care and thought into creating and curating. And the idea being that if you clearly identify a hypothesis, what's in it for the customer, and you have data to support up your argument, you're going to have a much higher quality discussion around the decision that actually needs to get made. The fifth and probably most important characteristic for me is velocity, or the speed at which teams can respond to situations. In the early days of the pandemic, I spoke to Sandeep Dadlani, who's the Chief Digital Officer at Mars. And I said to him, what have you learned from the crisis? And he said, it's been extraordinary. He said, everything that my digital transformation team has been working on for the last few years essentially came into being in the first 6 weeks of the crisis. He said, I'll give you a simple example. He said our logistics team was full of people who had these incredible familial relationships, but suddenly, when the pandemic hit, they couldn't operate the way they used to. People were now working from home. So rather than in the old days of picking up the phone and calling someone you knew who was working on the factory floor, who'd then look out the window and say to the truck driver, listen, can you hold up? We need to load up some more pallets. People now had to rely on digital systems, and they became more data-driven, and they became more objective, and they started asking more piercing, probing questions about the sources of demand and supply. And all of this essentially sped things up. Sandeep said it was like they found out a way to improve their internal clock speed. And believe me, once you've done that, there is no going back. So these 5 forces for me are really the core of what a 21st century organization looks like. It's why remote work is just the beginning of a much bigger revolution that is changing the nature of business itself. So as you start to think about a next action on this point, create a discussion channel on your collaboration platform. Use WebEx Teams to create a hashtag transformation topic and share stories about things that are not only going on in your organization, but in other organizations or in other industries. And as a mind grenade, here's how I would challenge you. If you had the opportunity to redesign your infrastructure today for the post-pandemic world with no legacy systems and all the lessons of the last 12 months, what would you do differently? Rule number 3, AI will not destroy jobs, but it will change them. We're going to see increasing uncertainty in the next few years about the role of automation and employment. People are going to be worried, but should they? Interestingly, if you look at history, in the early days of automation in the American Industrial Revolution, when they first brought automation, say, to the cotton industry, you can imagine the weavers were upset. Literally, here was their livelihood under threat. But in many cases, they didn't lose their jobs. Their jobs changed because rather than doing the physical weaving, they now had to maintain the machines that did the work for them. But as a result, the cost of cloth began to fall. People started to buy more cloth. And in fact, the number of people employed in this industry at the height of the Industrial Revolution in America between 1830 and 1900 didn't go down. It quadrupled. Something very similar happened in the financial services industry in the late 60s, early 70s when they brought in ATMs. Yeah, okay, you didn't now need as many bank tellers in a bank branch, but this meant it was cheaper to open up bank branches. So banks did just that. They opened up many more branches in many more places. Interestingly, there are actually more bank tellers today working in financial services than there were before the ATM. But that's not the point. You see, you need a different kind of person with a very different set of skills. And that is really, I think, the core of the issue. How do jobs now need to change in a world where we increasingly have more automation, more data, more technology? And in particular, how do leadership jobs need to change? You see, I think we need to become new types of leaders. I think we need to become algorithmic leaders who can combine a deep understanding of human complexity with a flair for computational thinking. In a way, we need a new set of leadership principles to guide us. And that is really where I want to leave you with today, with 3 principles. Number 1, when you automate, think about how you can elevate. So Shell is an interesting case study. They're facing an increasingly decarbonized energy future, one that's going to require probably more knowledge of AI, machine learning, data analytics in order to run increasingly complex and adaptive energy grids. So interestingly, Shell realized they have lots of geotechnical engineers or people that have got incredible math skills. So these people they're now trying to migrate by giving them more and more lessons and materials on artificial intelligence and machine learning and data. So in order to transition their workforce by identifying the capabilities they already have. So when you automate, think about how you can elevate the talent and capabilities in your team and organization. The second principle for me is learn how to better embrace uncertainty and, in fact, to anticipate and design in failure. So the F-35 fighter jet has been one of the most expensive and problematic fighter planes in history. It cost a fortune to build and it's not really working as planned. And interestingly, one of the biggest problems is the maintenance software. The maintenance software essentially is requiring engineers to log 10,000 hours of data that should be collected autonomously. And this means that in many cases the planes are not flying when they in fact should be fit to fly. So when the Department of Defense commissioned a report on this, the Atlantic Council actually recommended that the DoD spend more time looking at companies like Netflix and Amazon. You see, at Netflix they've got something called the Simian Army of chaos monkeys that they deliberately unleash onto their systems to basically unleash uncertainty and ambiguity. They actually build failure into the systems in order to test and to track things that are unlikely to happen. And by doing this, they make their systems more resilient and more robust. Similarly at Amazon, when they specify problems, they have a specific language in which rather than just trying to identify what could possibly go wrong, they actually identify what has to go right in order for the system to function. So by anticipating failure, by embracing uncertainty, they build a more robust platform. The third principle for me is probably the most important, which is if the answer is X, learn how to ask why. There is no doubt that we're moving into a time with increasing risks of not just cyber attacks and data breaches, but algorithmic bias and AIs that are potentially discriminatory. And there's no point waiting around to see who's at fault, when this is exactly the moment when we have to develop and nurture the right moral compass. This applies both to engineers and programmers as well to business leaders, because now is the time that we have to really think, what are we building these systems for? What data are we using? Is the data underlying bias? What are we optimizing these platforms around? These are deep and, in fact, moral questions that are essential not only for designing equitable platforms, but ensuring that we bring our humanity as leaders to the table. So what I'm really saying is, as we look to the 21st century, we're going to need a whole new playbook of leadership principles. I've given you 3 principles today. I've actually got another 7. If you're interested in learning more, please take a moment to check out my book, The Algorithmic Leader. I believe leaders are more important than ever, but we have to evolve and adapt. When we automate, we have to elevate our teams. We need to prepare for failure and embrace uncertainty. And most importantly, we need to be ready to challenge the future with a strong moral compass. As a next action, ask yourself, what can you do as a leader to better drive digital transformation? Write a personal transformation plan for areas of change, either technological or cultural, that you can influence in your role. And as a final mind grenade, I'd say this. What are the behaviors and beliefs that made you successful in the past that, if you continued in the future, would in fact undermine your progress? So I hope you found this interesting. It's been a great pleasure talking to you today at Cisco Live, and I'd love to stay in touch. So please take a moment to follow me on Twitter or on Instagram. And if you'd like the summary slides from today, you can find them at mike-walsh.com/go. Right up front, I challenged you about what's really at stake here. It's so much more interesting than just a period of recovery from an incredible global crisis. We are truly at the dawn of a new world, a world that's going to run on very new rules. So what's going to happen as we accelerate out of this crisis? Is it going to be a new renaissance or a new boom? Well, I hope so. But ultimately, it'll be up to us and the decisions we make now. Because now is the time for us to rethink how we engage our customers and our communities. Now is the time for us to redesign where and how we work. And now is the time for us to reimagine our role as leaders. Because now, more than ever, is truly a time for transformation.
I love what Arnold Smith wrote on Twitter just now. He wrote, listening to new rules for a new world on Cisco Live, the speaker's killing it. I couldn't agree more. I love that session with Mike, and I particularly love the concept of mind grenades. Hey, let's look at the agenda of what's up next. It's coming up, we're going to be looking deep into cloud networking, how easy it is to implement Meraki, more around hybrid cloud, and then we've got an amazing session with James Cameron. Seema, do you want to take us away to the next session?
What a massive start to Cisco Live 2021. We are excited to be underway with the program and are even more excited to be introducing 2 very special performances for you. Both of these artists are joining us from Los Angeles, California, and we're excited to introduce them to you. First up, we have an impressive vocal performance by Pentatonics. Pentatonics has won 3 Grammys for their incredible style of a cappella. Their YouTube channel boasts over 19 million subscribers, and they've sold out shows all over the globe. The group has received multiple RIAA certifications for multi-platinum, platinum and gold-selling albums and singles. A daytime Emmy nomination, starred in 3 holiday specials for NBC, and appeared in the feature film Pitch Perfect 2. Cisco Live is excited to welcome Pentatonics. At Cisco Live, we aren't stopping there. We are also being joined by global superstar Baby Rexha. As a Diamond certified selling artist with multiple Grammy nominations, numerous #1 hits, and chart-topping songwriting career under her belt, Baby is a force. Beyond excelling on the pop charts and rock charts, Baby holds the title for longest reign ever by a female artist at #1 on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart for her song Meant to Be, with Florida Georgia Line, which held the top spot for 50 consecutive weeks. Her debut album, Expectations, landed her Best New Artist nomination at the 2019 Grammy Awards. Cisco Live, we hope you enjoy these performances. Great, ready to turn it up with Pentatonics and BB Rexa. Click on the Leadership channel to see these incredible performances. Have fun.